All right, we're ready. Morning, everyone. Before I get started on topic today for healthy conversations, I just wanted to remind you that I am doing a free workshop next week, Tuesday, the 11th. I think that's the 11th. It is at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 o'clock Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time. And I'm going to be doing a free workshop. And in that workshop, I'm going to be talking, it's packed full of information for you all. But I'm going to be talking specifically about the 3 levels of change. So ultimately, when we go and try and change something, most of us start with the behaviors that we think are going to take us to the outcome we want. So for instance, let's say you're trying to lose weight or change the way you feel about your body, right? So you're going to change your behaviors, the type of food you eat or the type of movement you do or the type of exercise you have. Those are behaviors. What type of food, what type of movement, exercise, etc. And we go in at the level of behavior and we try to change in order to get to the outcome. The outcome we want is weight loss or whatever, changing shape and size. That's typically where most people try and change. They change behavior to get to the outcome. However, what most people don't understand is that all of our behaviors originate from somewhere. And so what I'm going to be talking about in the workshop next week are the 3 different places that our behaviors originate from: the level of safety, the level of beliefs, and the level of homeostasis. I will explain what all of that means and help you identify where your behaviors originate from so that then you can go about actually changing them. Because how many of you have been on some type of yo-yo diet or some type of roller coaster ride up and down? I commit to a program, but I don't stick to it, or it doesn't last, or I go back to old behaviors. If you don't understand these 3 levels where your behaviors originate from, then when you just go and try and change something at the level of behavior to try and get to the outcome, we stay stuck. And so many people talk about, I keep trying different diets, I keep trying different programs, nothing seems to work for me, or it doesn't work long-term, or it's not permanent, or I can't seem to make it stick. This is sort of that missing link as to why. And I'm going to teach you all about it in the workshop, totally free. I will pop the link in here for you to be able to sign up. If you can't make it live, yes, I will send around a replay, but I don't want you to miss that workshop. It's really, really informative. The last time I did it, someone said it was the best workshop that they've ever seen on the internet, which I was very proud of. I said, oh, thank you. I'm so glad. But the point is, it's packed with tons of really valuable information for you. So make sure that you check that out. If you're on the wait list for the shift, we have a call tomorrow. It's today, Thursday. Tomorrow, we have a free call tomorrow to talk about the shift, all things the shift. It's going to open just for the wait list on Saturday. So exciting. Saturday, the wait list opens. If you're not already on the wait list, it's not too late to get on there. I'll pop the link in here as well. You can come to our call tomorrow. You can sign up on Saturday. And then the next round of the shift starts in 2 weeks from this Saturday. And I'm so excited. The shift is now 6 months long. It is 3 months of integration, or 3 months of immersion, and then 3 months of integration. So we do 3 months of learning a new lesson every week, and then a 90-minute coaching call going over questions and really absorbing that lesson. And then we do 3 months of integration. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot, but again, one of the big tenets of change is not just by learning and absorbing information, but by doing. So we've got to move from the cognitive place of learning into the embodiment place of doing and being. And so part of the shift process is doing the learning. We got to know the stuff, but giving you lots of tools to embody and actually become. And then the 3 months of integration is going to be spent on rinse and repeat, really, really kind of taking the training wheels off and trying, becoming and living in this new way. And one of the, I told you guys before, one of the biggest pieces of feedback I was getting in the shift is that they wanted to be together longer so that these could really drop in and become sort of new ways of being. So we do 3 months of immersion, 3 months of integration. It's a 6-month program now, which is really exciting. And the next round opens in a couple of weeks. Or I should say it starts in a couple of weeks. The doors to sign up will open next week, unless you're on the wait list, and they open on Saturday. Whew, that's a lot. That was a lot to go over. Okay. Let's talk about our topic for today. And it's a really near and dear to my heart topic. I hope it'll help you guys get to know me a little bit better. I got a DM on my Instagram asking me, explaining her situation and asking me if I ever work with people who are not trying to lose weight, but are just really struggling. It just so happens she's struggling with her body, but also just in general, right? And we, started having this conversation on email, moved it to email, about the fact that the work I do isn't actually weight loss anyway. Let me explain what I mean by that. In my 20 years of doing this work, the struggle with weight, the struggle with the actual, relationship to gravity, weight, is just one manifestation. It's just a symptom of the internal struggle that's going on for somebody. And here's what that means is that, and that internal struggle can manifest as all kinds of symptoms. For some people, it's their weight and weight issues. For some people, it's, workaholic, working too much, right? For some people, it's jumping from relationship to relationship. For some people, it's yelling at their kids. For some people, it's addictions. For some people, I could go on and on and on the way that the struggle manifests. But for people struggling with their weight, it often manifests as using food for any number of reasons, whether it be active coping, whether it be homeostasis, because that's what they've always done, whether it be emotion regulation. Again, I could go on and on and on. The food and then the weight is just a symptom of some other internal dysregulation that's going on. And so I'm explaining all of this to let you know that in this particular, where this question came from, what she was really struggling with is she doesn't have an issue with her weight. And she sort of goes in and out, cycling in and out of eating well and then not eating so well and eating well, not eating so well. And it doesn't show up as weight issues, but she cannot seem to feel comfortable, happy, peaceful in her body, right? So there's body image issues, body image struggles. No matter what I weigh, no matter what I try, I don't feel comfortable in my body. And that manifests into difficulty in my relationships, not showing up as my highest self, hiding, being small, right? She was saying, do you work with this type of thing? Or do you only do weight loss? And the answer is emphatically yes. I explained to you that I don't actually do weight loss anyway, because it's all the same. It's the struggle of being human. And the struggle of humanity is that, most of us were raised in an environment where we weren't really taught how to be the highest and best versions of ourselves. Now, I do think this next generation of children and the generation of children to come will become much more skilled at recognizing emotions, being able to express emotions, having the coping skills to deal with life's circumstances in a way that this generation and the generations before just hadn't gotten to yet. But I think what I'm trying to normalize is that just because your manifestation of the internal struggle of being human happens to be with food or body image issues or whatever, doesn't mean that there is something uniquely wrong with you. Other people's manifestation of life's struggles of being human manifest as depression, anxiety, like I said, addictions, relationship issues, working too much, not being able to express emotions. We all manifest the struggle of being human differently, right? And so the work that I do is not so much around weight loss, which, don't get me wrong, people do lose weight effectively, permanently, and feel great about that. But they do the same work, which is learning a different way to show up to life, a different way to be in life, a different way to identify and then regulate their nervous system, a different way to identify and then regulate emotions, a different way to communicate in a more effective way. They just learn a different way of living and being. And that's the work that we do. And then through that different way of living and being, yes, oftentimes it looks like being more consistent in healthy behaviors, taking better care of themselves, which looks like eating differently and moving differently. And the result of that often ends up being weight loss, right? So sure, that's how that works. But truly, as I was telling her, and I wanted to tell all of you, the work is around learning how to live your life, show up for your life in a different, more authentic, more confident, more empowered, more powerful way. And as you do that, it trickles into all areas, including body image issues, weight issues, etc. That's a very long-winded way of saying, and the reason why I'm using the language of like humanity and being human is that I believe we all share the challenge of showing up deeply human in our lives, making space for others to be deeply human in our lives, recognizing when that humanity makes us uncomfortable or dysregulated, or someone else's humanity makes us uncomfortable or dysregulated, and learning better skills and tools and ways to meet not only ourselves and others' dysregulation so that we can do life better as a human race, as a human population. Very existential conversation with you all today. But I told her that I would do a video about this, sort of explaining how I feel about it. And it's a long-winded way of saying, yes, my work, people who struggle with their weight happen to gravitate towards this work, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And I have a deep passion for helping people feel comfortable in their bodies. I guess I'll add one more thing. I believe that this feeling comfortable in our bodies for many people is kind of the final frontier. As I was talking to some other clients this week, I have so many people who say something along the lines of, I'm so successful in every area of my life. I have everything together in my work, in my relationship with my kids. I'm killing it everywhere, but I just can't figure out this thing with my body, right? A lot of people tell me that. And what I want to say to that is, because we live in this experience of our bodies all day long, I believe that it is the most vulnerable and sometimes the most challenging space for us to overcome. Partially because many of us have learned to separate from our bodies over time, that we were conditioned because of what we were feeling or what we were experiencing that felt uncomfortable and didn't have the skills to address it or make it okay at the time. We learned how to turn away from ourselves. And a lot of what we do with food and behaviors that, ultimately end up making us feel uncomfortable in our bodies is as a result of turning away from ourselves. And so teaching people to turn back towards and to connect and to sort of play on the same team with their bodies can feel really vulnerable and difficult and challenging. And so for many people, they can conquer and accomplish everything in their lives. But when it comes to turning in and turning towards themselves, being on the same team with their body, right? And even if I'm saying this to you and you're like, what are you talking about? Get connected to my body. It's challenging work. Sometimes that's the final frontier for people, is this sort of last piece of, oh, wait a second, can I turn inwards and connect to myself in a way that I haven't done before? Can I work together with this, bag of bones and flesh towards a shared vision or result versus just, control and pounding on it and utilizing it and trying to force it and trying to control it. And why won't you do this? And why won't you look like that? And when we actually turn towards and connect and build a new relationship with our bodies, that's really, really vulnerable and challenging work. So all that is to say, if you are someone who is struggling with the challenges of life, if you are someone who is struggling with your body, if you're someone who is struggling with your weight, if you are someone who is just struggling, that's what this work is all about. And I invite you to stay in this space and ask the questions and get on the email lists and come to the workshops and just hear more about what the journey into this work looks like. You are welcome here. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope to continue to hear from you. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next week.